The regular season is history, and now it's playoff time. 12 players are recognized as the best in the league this season. We'll have part 3 of our conversation with League Commissioner Brian McKenna and a story about one team's very special fan. ECHL Week starts now. It started on October the 12th and continued for 828 games. After 5.5 months, the 25th anniversary ECHL regular season has come to a close. And that means it's time for the Kelly Cup playoffs. This year figures to provide some extremely competitive series. And as the postseason begins, get ready for another 2 months of drama, excitement, and surprises. And that's just for the fans. The players and coaches will endure those things plus the mental, physical, and emotional stress that comes with trying to be the only team to win 16 playoff games this spring. So let's get the party started. Here's a look at the first round playoff matchups. In the West, top-seeded Alaska, the Brabham Cup champ, takes on San Francisco. In the regular season, the Aces won 7 games over the first-year Bulls. San Francisco managed a couple wins, including one in overtime. However, 4 of Alaska's victories came by just 1 goal. It would be hard to imagine the regular season champs getting upset by the team with the worst record in the playoffs. But they play the games for a reason. You just don't know what might happen.
There'll be a more intense preparation for the San Francisco series starting on Monday when we get back to Alaska, and it'll be a lot more information than probably on any given night. Now that's not necessarily going to carry through the whole playoff series, but it's more preparation for the beginning of the San Francisco series.
Pacific Division champ Ontario would get lots more recognition if it wasn't for Alaska, but the Reign have had an outstanding year and finished the season as the only team in their division with single-figure losses at home. When leading scorer Colton Yellowhorn got his AHL call, teammates Kyle Kramer and rookie Mario Lamoureux took over. If they're able to retain one of their experienced goalies, such as J.F. Berube, this team will be very difficult to beat. Utah is one of only 2 teams in the playoffs with a sub-500 record, but the Grizzlies' numbers would have looked a lot better had they not suffered 9 shootout losses, most in the league. They lead the league in penalty minutes tough, and if the goaltending situation is stabilized, and it just might be with recent American International College standout Ben Meissner, Utah is no pushover.
Well, we gotta channel our emotions into a positive way. Sometimes we get carried away a little bit too much. Discipline's going to be a key going in playoffs, and that's the number one thing we have to focus on.
An interesting pairing is number 3 Idaho versus number 6 Colorado. The Steelheads were second to Alaska in the Mountain Division, but any team that knocks on the door of 100 points and allows fewer than 200 goals in a season is doing something very right. As far as the Eagles are concerned, the home cooking seems to make a difference. They're right with the rest of the big boys when you look at their record. On the road, it's another story. But as a lower seed, you only have to win 1 road game a series, and with 2012 ECHL MVP Chad Costello back in the lineup for Colorado after a few months in the AHL, this Mountain Division matchup figures to be quite a tussle. Like most 4-5 matchups, the Stockton-Las Vegas clash should be very interesting and competitive. In the regular season, they were separated by just a few points, and the Thunder and Wranglers split 8 games, although 3 of Vegas' wins came in overtime or a shootout. But listen to this. Of the 8 games they played, 7 were decided by 1 goal, and the other by 2 goals. This series figures to be exceptionally tight, and it would surprise almost no one if the battle goes to a 7th game to decide a winner. In the East, the margin between the number 1 and number 8 teams is much more narrow. Every team in the postseason earned at least 80 points in the regular season. There don't figure to be any easy series on the way to figuring out which team earns the Eastern crown. Number 1 Reading, coming off the best regular season in its 12-year history, takes on number 8 Greenville in the opening round. The Royals were very stingy in allowing goals this season. In the East, only South Carolina allowed fewer. And goaltending may be a big difference in this series. The Road Warriors have a couple of solid rookies, but Reading has Riley Gill, who's been sensational since arriving from the Southern Pro League. And his experience, including helping Kalamazoo to the Eastern Finals last season, figures to make a big difference.
Well, we're definitely going to watch some video tomorrow on Greenville. We'll watch the game. They played Gwinnett tonight, and we'll watch to see if they've made any changes to their system, and go over this week with the guys and how we can defend it and hopefully be successful against it.
Number 2 Cincinnati will take on North Division foe Toledo in the first round. The Cyclones have good scoring balance. 9 players hit double figures in goals, but they may suffer from losing several players to AHL call-ups. The Walleye, back in the playoffs for the first time since 2010, have even more balanced scoring. 15 skaters had 10 or more goals. They were also the only team in the league not to have a shootout victory this season. In the playoffs, that won't be a problem. Toledo was Cincinnati's main challenger in the division all season. Don't be surprised if that continues in the playoffs. In the regular season, they split 8 games. Gwinnett, which has been at or near the top of the South Division all season, is 17 games over 500. But it scored only 20 more goals than it allowed. Translation: the Gladiators play lots of tight games. Since February 6th, 19 of their 23 games were decided by 1 or 2 goals. As long as one of their quality goalies is not in the AHL, their style is made for the playoffs. The Glads will face South Division rival South Carolina. As far as the Stingrays are concerned, it's all about defense, particularly goaltender Ryan Zapolsky. The All-Star Game MVP will likely win more postseason awards than any other player. His year has been sensational, and when you consider that South Carolina ranks 12th in the conference in goal scoring, you understand that this is a defense-first team. Defense and the playoffs go hand in hand. The Rays figure to be a very dangerous opponent in the postseason. Defending Eastern champ Florida has battled all season to get near the top of the South Division. They didn't quite make it, but an 11-2-1 record down the stretch helped them earn a home ice advantage in the first round. One big question for the Everblades: will goaltender Jesse Deckert, just recently of the University of Manitoba, be able to hold the fort until one of Florida's other goalies returns from the AHL? The Blades will take on Elmira. With Andrew Rowe, Jordan Petrus, and Rob Bellamy leading the way, the Jackals have some serious firepower up front. The Jackals are 3rd in the East in scoring. Jordan Southorn, who's a +28, anchors the defense, and the goaltending is steady. But because of numerous call-ups to Binghamton in the AHL, the Jackals' fate will likely be determined by the ability of their depth players to perform in what is going to be another one of those tough 4-5 series.
We've been in playoff mode for over a month now, obviously, and we've had a real busy schedule and a hectic schedule, and our team's shown a lot of character. I think that we went through some peaks and valleys throughout the year, but from Christmas on, I thought we've played really hard and really well, and we found a way to give ourselves this opportunity now, and it's a credit to the players. They really accepted the challenge.
Make sure to join us for next week's show, when we'll focus on all 8 first-round playoff series. A look at the all-league teams. That's next on ECHL Week.
I'm a legend. I'm the player you want to be. I'm the name you'll wear on your jersey. I'm one of a kind. You'll see me everywhere, On the ice. Online. On the All-Star team. Take a good look. I'm the future.
At the end of each season, teams can gauge their success by trophies or championships, a division, a conference, the Kelly Cup, for example. But for individual players, it's not always so easy. It's a team effort to win a title, but it's also important to recognize some special individual achievements during the course of the season. So here, as determined in a vote of ECHL coaches, broadcasters, media relations directors, and media, including yours truly, here's a rundown of the all-ECHL first and second teams. The first team goalie is Ryan Sapolsky of the South Carolina Stingrays. He leads the ECHL with a 1.66 goals against average, a .942 save percentage, and 8 shutouts. That last figure ties him for the most in a single season in league history. Sapolsky, who is also named to the ECHL All-Rookie team, has allowed 2 goals or less in 33 of his 39 appearances this season. The 26-year-old was named MVP of the 2013 ECHL All-Star Game and was selected as League Goalie of the Month for December and February. One of the first-team defenders is Matt Case of the Idaho Steelheads. Case leads all defensemen and is tied for the overall league lead in plus-minus +30. He's tied for second among defensemen with 38 points and is third among blue liners with 32 assists. His 14 power play assists are tied for fourth among defensemen. Case has also seen action in 5 games with Manchester of the American Hockey League. Sasha Guimont of the Gwinnett Gladiators, who was named to the ECHL All-Rookie team, leads all league defensemen with 47 points, is tied for first with 35 assists, and is fourth with 12 goals. He is first among blue liners with 9 power play goals and 29 power play points, while his 20 power play assists are tied for first among blue liners. Guimont also has 6 AHL games on his resume this season. As far as the forwards are concerned, Michael Forney of the Colorado Eagles leads his club with 34 goals, which is fourth in the ECHL, and 74 points, which is tied for second in the league. He's second in the ECHL with 15 power play goals and is fifth with 247 shots on goal. Casey Pierro-Zavatel of Gwinnett is second in the league with 53 assists and is tied for second with 74 points. Named a starter for the ECHL All-Star Game, Pierro-Zavatel notched 2 assists in that contest. He has added a couple of points in 5 games with Charlotte of the AHL. Rounding out the first team is Matthew Waugh, captain of the Florida Everblades, who leads the ECHL with 84 points, is tied for first with 36 goals, and tied for fifth with 48 assists. His 20 power play assists are tied for fifth, and he's one of only 8 players to record multiple hat tricks this season. Waugh was named ECHL Player of the Month for February, and he has also played in 3 games with the AHL's Lake Erie Monsters. Members of the second team include goalie Mark Guggenberger of the Alaska Aces, who's third in the ECHL with a 2.21 goals against average, tied for fourth with 24 wins, and tied for fifth with a .918 save percentage. He's teamed with Gerald Coleman to give the Aces outstanding net minding en route to the regular season title. Adam Comrie of the Reading Royals leads all defensemen with 17 goals, despite being loaned to Worcester of the AHL in early February. He's tied for 11th among blue liners with 33 points, and his 5 game-winning goals are tops among defensemen. Nick Tozzolino of the Utah Grizzlies is 4th among defensemen with 31 assists, and is tied for 6th with 36 points. His 21 power play assists are tops among league blue liners, and he's second with 23 power play points. He's played 14 games with Abbotsford of the American Hockey League. Up front, Kyle Kramer of the Ontario Reign leads the club with 71 points, which is tied for 7th in the ECHL. He ranks 6th in the league with 30 goals and is 4th in plus-minus at plus 26. Nick Mazzolini of Alaska is tied for the league lead with 36 goals, and he's tied for 5th with 71 points. He's tied atop the league list with 4 shorthanded goals, and he's 2nd with 9 game winners. Finally, Colton Yellowhorn of Ontario shares the league lead with 36 goals and has a league-leading 10 game-winning goals. He was named the league's Player of the Month for January and has added 15 points in 19 games with Manchester of the AHL. The third part of our chat with ECHL Commissioner Brian McKenna when ECHL Week continues.
From opening night until the Kelly Cup is raised, watch every game of the 2012-13 ECHL season exclusively on AmericaOneSports.com. Catch the action live or on demand. Games available on your PC, Mac, or mobile device. The biggest goals, hardest hits, and spectacular saves all season long can be found only at AmericaOneSports.com, the official broadband broadcaster to the ECHL.
Now it's time for another segment of our conversation with ECHL Commissioner Brian McKenna. I would be interested to know your thoughts, the league's thoughts about what you might be anticipating, if there's anything new that you might be anticipating for the Kelly Cup playoffs this season.
Well, this year fans will see a slightly different modification in that the first round this year will be a best out of 7. Also, there's no bye in the West. 8 out of 9 teams come in, so all the teams will be playing out there in the first round. And again, it's a discussion that we have on an annual basis in terms of what is the best format, the most fair format. But for this year, it's going to be 4 rounds of best out of 7. And again, we're excited about that. I think that's a very traditional hockey format. It allows a few more days between the end of the regular season and the beginning of the playoffs in most, if not all, the markets, and allows perhaps teams more time to travel and prepare and get ready for the first round. So I think that's the biggest thing that fans will notice this year.
What would you say have been the major accomplishments that the ECHL has made in the last year or two? That could be on ice, that could be off ice from a business standpoint. Are there any things that in particular that really come to mind?
Well, I think off the ice, from a business point of view, I think we've reached a certain level of stability. I mean, our business, was not unlike virtually every business in the financial downturn through 08, 09, 10. Again, we're trying to we're an entertainment product, trying to get disposable income. We're an entertainment option in all of our markets, and so we went through a couple of tough years. I think we've survived that pretty well. We lost a couple of teams, but as a league, we've emerged from it stronger than at any point in the past. And we've grown over the past 2 years to the level that we are right now. So I think not only stability, but I think we're now positioned for some good growth, some gradual growth over the next coming or upcoming years. So from a business point of view, we're in a pretty good spot. On the ice, again, I think the level of play continues to be impressive. The number of young players, the speed, the quality of play, the intensity of the level of play, I think year over year continues to get better. You'll hear this from certain teams or individuals that perhaps have played in the league for a number of years. Players will tell you that just the speed and the intensity of the game continues to get better. So from a fan perspective, that's good. From a hockey perspective, that's good. And again, that I think that continual improvement is something that over the past couple of years we've seen, and something again that we take pride in.
Is there anything other than stability that you think is important to try to accomplish
Well, I think from the league office point of view, we want to continue to raise the level of profile of the league. Now, that is both from within the hockey community, worldwide, in the recognition that we get for a league, for our players, for our coaches, and other personnel, and also then within our communities from a fan point of view. We want to make sure that we become more relevant in our communities, that we're involved, not just from an entertainment point of view, but with local schools, charities, part of the fabric of the community. And I think that's something that we want to continue to focus on. And in doing so, again, if we can continue to grow our brand, grow our product across not just the markets that we're in, but hopefully gradually across the country, and raise the level of awareness in terms of what we're doing and the quality of entertainment that we're providing, then I think if you look at the bigger picture, that's certainly what we want to continue to try to do.
It must be encouraging to you to know that there are people, maybe not thousands and thousands of people, but there are certainly a significant number of people who are watching and interested in what's going on in the ECHL from different places around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. On an annual basis, we'll have any number of players leave our league to go take jobs in Europe. And then conversely, though, there are also players who play in Europe that perhaps never played in our league before, or have played in our league and then eventually end up coming back. So I think from fans in Europe, whether it's Germany or other countries over there, there's a level of knowledge about some of the individuals and some of the teams that play in our league. And I think as a result, it helps build that viewership. And hockey over the past probably 20 to 25 years has become a worldwide game. Certainly, I think gaining knowledge from fans, worldwide. Olympics has certainly helped that as well. And I think the fact that our games are now on America One and streamed live anywhere in the world, there's a lot of folks that were aware of the ECHL that are now living somewhere in the world. Not certainly, and the foremost of that, I think, are military personnel stationed elsewhere in the world who continually tune in, watch our games, and follow, the fan favorites or their favorite team. And we hope that will continue to grow, and that online presence will help continue to spread the word of the ECHL far and wide.
The story of a fan and his favorite team, cheering for each other. That's next on ECHL Week.
What's up, guys? I'm Landon Donovan of the LA Galaxy. I'm a big Ontario Reign fan, and you're watching ECHL Week. Enjoy.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
So many reasons to be a fan, so many ways to show it. Customize your own at shop.nhl.com.
The Bakersfield Condors announced that head coach Matt Odette will not return behind the bench next season. We're in a results-based business, and this is a decision that is purely an issue of wins and losses, said Condors president Matthew Riley. In Odette's 2 seasons in charge, the Condors were 46, 85, 6, and 7. It's the first time the Condors have failed to qualify for the playoffs in consecutive seasons. They finished with the fewest points in the ECHL in both years. The Reading Royals announced that head coach and director of hockey operations Larry Corville will return to that position for the 2013-14 season. He signed a 2-year contract extension. This was Corville's 4th full season leading the Royals, and it was the best in team history. The club set team records for wins, win percentage, and points. This year's club also clinched the second Atlantic Division title under Corville's guidance and became the first team in Royals history to earn an Eastern Conference regular season crown. Now, a story about a young man who many would say left this world very prematurely. It's also a story about caring and friendship and life, but mostly it's about a very devoted fan of the Wheeling Nailers and how, during his brief time on Earth, this young man touched the lives of so many people. Randy Stevens was, by all accounts, a teenager with a very mature attitude. The kind of person who had lots of friends and who was admired by many of the adults with whom he came in contact. He was the kind of person who you'd meet and walk away thinking, that kid has a future. But as a freshman at Wheeling Park High School, at the end of 2009, he was diagnosed with a form of bone cancer. And that diagnosis started Randy on the most difficult and final journey of his life. Because even though it looked as if he had beaten the disease twice, it came back. And although medical personnel tried very hard, they couldn't help Randy to stop it that third time. He was 18 years old. Randy wasn't very tall, but he was athletic. He played baseball as a kid, and as he got older, when his health allowed, he was a member of the high school golf team. He cared about his red car, his church, his girlfriend and his family, helping others in broadcasting class at school, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and his favorite hometown hockey team, the Wheeling Nailers, where many knew him because he attended so many games.
He reached out to us. He's always been a big fan of the Nailers, and I think with our presence on our team last year, we enjoyed being on Twitter, the teammates and stuff like that, and reaching out to our fans in that way too, to interact with them. And he reached out to us, and we kind of learned his story through talking with him, and then we had him, over to the rink and got to know him a little bit off ice and in the locker room and stuff, and he really enjoyed it, and we did too. We took a lot from those interactions.
A couple seasons ago, he started corresponding with some of the Nailers on Twitter. Over time, friendships developed, so much so that some of the team members and Randy socialized on many occasions. About a year ago, after presenting one of the annual Fans Awards given to team members, he was surprised when he was presented with the 2011-12 Wheeling Nailers Fan of the Year Award. He followed hockey closely, but he especially kept track of the ECHL. He counted broadcasters DJ Abasela of the Nailers and Will Henneke of the Idaho Steelheads among his friends. Henneke said, "I couldn't figure out why a teenager in West Virginia was always watching Steelheads hockey games on America One. The players have their family and friends, but I usually sniff that connection out pretty quickly when they're asking how certain players are playing. Randy never did that. Just let me know that he was watching and enjoying the broadcast." When Randy finally told me what he was going through, my heart just sank. It's great to have listeners. It's great to have people tuned in and enjoying your broadcast, but not because they're undergoing medical treatments that make it difficult for them to sleep at night. In that context, I wish he had never watched a Steelheads game, because that means he'd still be here, he'd be healthy, and he'd be living his life with his family and friends.
A lot of times he'd be having treatment in Pittsburgh, and then his one main goal that day would be to make our home game in Wheeling, which was about an hour commute. So for him to do that at the condition he was in is awesome. And then another just fun time, we went to get ribs at this place that he suggested, and myself and Andrew Hoffman went and took him out for ribs, and that was one of his favorite places to go eat ribs, so it was nice to share that with him.
After Randy's passing in February, the final month of the season, the Nailers wore a sticker on the backs of their helmets with the initials RS to honor and remember him. Randy was one of those people you remember long after they leave the room, Wheelers forward Ben Farrer said. He taught us all a lesson about what it meant to not take any day for granted. He showed what a true role model is, a caring, selfless, kind, and committed person who is mature beyond his years. He'll be missed by the entire Nailers team and organization, and we are all so lucky to have had him there as the best fan and friend that anyone could ever ask for.
The thing that I draw the most about was last year at the end of the year playoffs. We have, you see like the guys on that HBO special, they hand out like a hard hat or a shovel for the hardest working player. We incorporated that last year at the end of the season. We have like a toolbox and a nail to go out for the hardest working player. And we had Randy in the locker room towards the end of the year last year. I mean, he was a big inspiration for us for our playoff push. And when we had him in, we gave him the nail one day after one of our home wins, and to see his face and the way he lit up, and I mean, it made everyone feel good. He felt good, and we drew from that, and I mean, it helped us out. I mean, like I said, he says, you guys helped me out so much, and it's so much fun to be a part of, the team and stuff like that, and he truly felt part of the team. I mean, he helped us out more than we helped him out, and it's just the simple things in life like that you really draw from and appreciate.
Near the end of his life, Randy continued going to games when his health and chemotherapy would allow it. 4 days before his death, while in the hospital, he married his longtime girlfriend and another big Nailers fan, Emily Magna. And here's one of Randy's last tweets, a few weeks before he died. "I'm doing the best that I can. Following the Nailers keeps my mind in a better place. Looking for a Kelly Cup. That would be nice." The Nailers won't win the Kelly Cup this season, but success isn't always measured in wins and losses. The Nailers' season was a fruitful one because the team members got to spend almost all of it with a devoted follower and exceptional young man. To those who knew him, Randy Stevens was a special hockey fan and a very good friend. Make sure to join us next time as we look at the start of the Kelly Cup playoffs. Until then, make it a good week. Make it an ECHL week.